Today we start the Hotel Maker in a special video that we have a special guest. I would like to introduce my guest first, Kun Joseph Ling from Singapore. He's CEO of Vouch company, and what he are doing is about like building the thing that the hotel use in technology and develop the hotel business, and especially like what I know is like he cover around 20% of the hotel room in Singapore already. Another thing that made me very exciting is like he's a leader who's faced the problem not only just on the top of the hill and working with the team. Welcome, Kun Joseph, to the show.
Thank you, Kunton. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, thank you very much. And Kun Joseph, I think not everybody in my show that know about you. So can you tell me?
Hopefully one day everybody will know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let me introduce myself
please.
and the company, right? So at Vouch, we work with hotels and we provide them with both software and hardware to help them to manage their operations better. So we work with a whole range of hotels. It could be 4 or 5 stars. That's where we started. A lot of the chain hotels, they work with us, not just in Singapore, but we have offices in Singapore, Thailand, and Korea. But more recently, we also started to work with the smaller independent hotels, because one of the things that I realized last year was that it's actually the smaller independent hotels that suffer the most in a crisis. When there is a COVID, or when there is a like the current situation with the Iran war, often it's the small hotels that suffer the most. And I wanted to see whether everything that we learned in the big hotels, whether we could take that and also help the smaller guys. Yeah. So that's what we've been working on for the last 1.5, 2 years, and it's been a really interesting ride. Yeah.
Yes, that's linked to my first question that I would like to ask, because it's about like everything that happening right now is affect to hotel industry, of course, and yes, like you said, about the war or economic challenges, and it's make a lot of uncertainty situation in the world. So I would like to ask, like from your like point of view of from Vouch, so what is the major change that you are seeing in the traveler behavior across Asia or global markets?
I think the first thing to note is that it does feel like uncertainty is the new norm, because every couple of years there's this new big thing that comes around, and it's just become so common for crisis to happen nowadays that I think anybody that is operating a hotel has to recognize that. Some of the changes that we've seen is that obviously there's long haul travel has dropped significantly, because for example, the Europeans are no longer coming to Asia, and a lot of the hotels are suffering because of that. But what we are also seeing is that within Asia, there is a slight increase in travel in intra-Asia. Slight increase because with all this uncertainty also, people may not want to travel as much, but we're also seeing they start to travel within Asia. And I think that, in the last couple of years, especially for China, a lot of the Chinese are starting to travel within China. Within China rather than going out. And in fact, China is becoming a very interesting place where a lot of tourists are starting to hit there. Those are just some of the things that I've seen that are happening. And I think that if anything, this Iran war might actually benefit the Chinese tourism market quite significantly, because more people will hit there. But it's quite interesting now that long haul is no longer so attractive. People are traveling shorter distances, but more frequent trips.
I see. Because I talked to many hotels owner also. I also saw the same, how can I say, it's like data that Asian will travel a lot, because of if you take a long haul flight or longer distance, that means you have to pay more. So
I think it's not just about the cost of the fuel. I think it's also like literally I was just having a conversation with another hotelier today, and he was saying that a lot of the Europeans or the Middle Easterns, they don't dare to travel out, because if they travel out, maybe they can get out, but they don't know whether they can come back, because day to day the whole situation changes, right?
I see.
So I would expect a lot of the nations where tourism depends a lot on Middle Easterns and Europeans, and even the US are probably suffering a lot now.
Yes. And do you think about like business traveler and the leisure? So do you think like two part of this have any different behavior?
I think since COVID had hit, there has been quite huge changes, right? Structural changes. Like people, I get the feeling, and I'm sure the data is there, that people cut down on their travel for business as well, because they realize that a lot of things can actually be handled remotely. Yeah, so it is not, of course we've kind of recovered to maybe 75% of the travel of the past, but I don't think it will ever go back to the same levels as pre-COVID. And the Iran war just simply is another event, another crisis that will increase the chances of people saying like, maybe I don't need to travel anymore, maybe I can handle this remotely. Yeah, there will always be business travel, right? I mean, like today I'm sitting here with you and we're talking, and that's where we build a relationship and we start to trust one another. I think that will never go away. But for the smaller things, definitely, like I don't have to go fly down just for a meeting with my team. I can just do it online. People are used to that already. Leisure travelers, I think after COVID it came back a lot, but then so I was just having a conversation with a colleague just now, right? There has been, in the last couple of years, there have been so many retrenchments, not just in Singapore, but Thailand, in everywhere. Yeah, I think with all this uncertainty, all this unemployment that is happening, that hasn't shown up in the economy yet, because stock markets are at an all-time high. But I think that also impacts whether people actually want to travel. Yeah. In fact, a lot of my own personal friends, I know that they cut down on their travel because it's just so expensive to travel, and they don't even know whether they will have a job in a year's time. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're talking about like the crisis also, and so where do you believe like technology can help the hotels the most?
So I think there's a saying, right? Never let a crisis go to waste, right? And I think it holds true, where in a crisis, that's actually where, like in the case of hotels, they are forced to adopt technology, because hospitality is a very old school business in a lot of parts of the world, and many of the hotel managers and the owners, they may always see hospitality as, I need the human touch, I need to be able to have people in front of a guest.
Right.
Yeah. But then when there is a crisis and the financials no longer make sense, that's when they are forced to actually try something new. And that's what we are seeing right now, where hotels, they don't want to go out of business, they adopt new technology to try it. And I'll give an example, right? Even back in COVID, and back in COVID, that was when actually we grew the most. And it's ironic, right? Because you think that if the hotels are not getting business, why is it that they are spending on technology? But when there is a crisis, that's when it's the best time to spend on technology, because they have to cut costs anyway, right? And if they're going to have to cut costs, they can't just stick to the status quo. They have to figure out, like, if I cut costs, how can I use technology, or what else can I use to still make my guests happy, still be able to run operations. So during the COVID crisis, at least, that's what we saw. A lot of hotels, they actually, because of the crisis, they had to let go of a lot of people,
right.
Unfortunately, but then they adopted technology to be able to cope. And when the crowd came back, they were able to continue servicing a higher level of crowd, but with a smaller team and with a more efficient team. So they could some of them, they never ever hired back to pre-COVID levels. Some of them they did, but those that did, they were able to use the hiring to make guests even happier than they were before. So it's the best time to adopt technology, and I think that this crisis that we have now, if any hotels are thinking about adopting technology to overcome it, I think it's the best time. There's no better time, because how, in a normal situation, when things are going well, why would you choose to rock the boat to adopt technology with the risk that the technology may fail? But in a crisis, you don't have a choice. So I think never let a crisis go to waste. That saying is very true.
Yes, you're right. Because like last time that I attend a TDM seminar in Bangkok, people in many sessions, people talking about AI, and people think that AI is becoming a major tool in hospitality industry. But in my understanding, and also I think about the people who work in this industry, we have a perception that hotel business is about human touch. So how can we change it, or we will turn it to be AI era or the time? But how do you see the hotel using AI effectively without losing human touch?
I completely agree that the human touch is still necessary, right? If you want to run a good hotel where guests enjoy themselves and have a comfortable stay, oftentimes the human touch cannot go away. It has to be there. But I think that there are areas in a hotel's operation where you can actually make use of AI to enhance. So I think one good way to think about it is that you can take the predictable parts of the job and use AI to enhance it, and then free up the humans to work on the unpredictable side. So what I mean by this is that predictable things like report generation, analysis, things like that, you can use AI to very quickly to generate them much more quickly. And then the people that used to be behind a desk that always have to be generating these reports, they no longer have to be there. You could free them up to go and talk to the guests, to go and help the guests. So with the same manpower, you could achieve much more because that same group can start enhancing the guest experience. So the unpredictable side is that, for example, what if the guest has some problems for that day? Maybe they lost their passport and somebody needs to help them, right? If a hotel staff is now freed up to be able to spend more time with that guest and help them lodge a police report and get through all the headache of recovering their passport, the guests will appreciate it so much more. Yeah, I mean, that's an extreme case, but there's a whole range of activities that a human being can now engage with a guest to help them to have a fond memory of the stay at the hotel. I mean, these are the things that they remember, right? The guest doesn't know about the report that is being generated at the back end. The guest doesn't care about that. But now that you can free up people from the back end to go to the front, then there's so much more that you can do with a guest. Yeah, so I believe that the predictable stuff, let AI handle it. The unpredictable stuff where things could go wrong, let humans handle it. Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. Good, like visual, like
segregation.
Yes, because the thing is like people just thought that okay, AI will be a next hotelier or maybe a hotel staff instead of like people like reservation, for example. Yes, of course we have like a lot of technology about make a reservation. But anyway, yes, you're right. I also prefer like to go to the hotel and have a receptionist in front of me instead of like talking to something else. But anyway, yes.
So Kunton, I'm actually a bit different. For me, I would love it if I could go to a hotel where there are the hardware is nice. So I have a nice bed, a nice sofa, a nice room.
Yes.
But I don't need to have so many people. Maybe I can check in by myself. I can go to my room. But as long as that can mean that the price that I'm paying for the hotel is not as high as if there were a lot of service stuff, I'm happy to do that because I prefer to have the hardware rather than the too many humans.
Yes.
Yeah. But everyone has their own preferences.
Yeah. Like good example, because like one hotel that I went in Thailand, they have like more than 400 rooms and it's queued up like a airline checking in. And I think yes, if they have a self check-in kiosk, okay, I will take it.
Because you don't want to queue up, right?
I don't want to queue up.
Yeah.
Yes, it depends on the situation, but anyway, it's like if I prefer to go to like a small hotel, so I want something like human. But the thing is, yes, you're right. For example, like if by going to the flight, I also do a pre-check-in. I don't need to go to the self check-in kiosk. Yeah. So I want to show just QR code and check in. That's all. That's the way that make it faster. But if in terms of like holiday or leisure trip, I prefer something very normal.
But I also think that with AI there is a lot of opportunity to make the technology frictionless, the check-in much easier than it used to be before. Because I don't know whether you've used the check-in kiosk in Japan. Sometimes they can be terrible. Yeah. Sometimes you just can't find your way around it. Yeah. But I think that today with AI, there are a lot of things that we can do to, like for example, the kiosk in Japan. If your name doesn't match the passport for some reason, because for example, my name is Joseph Ling, I will book it under Joseph Ling, but on my passport it says Ling Zibin Joseph. That's my Chinese name, right? Sometimes it doesn't match. The AI, the algorithm doesn't match. But with AI getting smarter, now it gets better at that. So there's less of these friction points where in the past I may not be able to check in. Now I can check in. So I do think that over time, the impression of whether I really need a human touch or whether the technology is good enough for me to have a frictionless check-in, that will change. Yeah. And I also, you were asking just now about trends in travel and all that. I also feel like that. So, in the past, hotels, a lot of the hotel companies, they were asset heavy, right? They will own the hotels. And then after that, they realized that if they become asset light, where somebody else owns the hotel and they just run it, it is more profitable. So I feel like there will be a shift in the future, a similar shift, where they will realize that, maybe I shouldn't focus so much on squeezing out a little bit more revenue. Because now, there are so many revenue tools that hotels use, right, to increase their revenue, but those maybe you increase by 2 or 3%. I feel that it will be less heavy on that side, but they will start to look at operations and they'll start to think, can I also, because of all the uncertainty happening in the world, can I also maybe make my operations more scalable? When times are good, occupancy is high, then I can easily scale my operations cost higher. But when times are bad, I can easily scale back. I feel like technology will enable hotels to be able to do that. And I feel like there's a new wave of technology, which is exactly what we are trying to do, that we enable hotels to scale up and down more easily, so that even in times of crisis, it's fine. They won't go bust.
Yes, talking about like scaling.
Yeah.
So because we are a hotel management company, so we are like a kind of small group of hotel, and we also sitting in a dependent hotel. And if they could prioritize some technology investment that we're talking about before. So if you're talking about like in the next 2 or 3 years, what would you recommend to do it and why?
So back to the whole uncertainty thing, right? I would recommend that hotels invest in technology that allows them to be lighter with their operations footprint. What I mean by that is, so for example, right, we sell, one of the products that we sell is self-check-in technology, right? That alone is great because then even if there are no guests, then the costs remain the same. I don't have to, and it's cheap, right? Or I can have no cost at all. I can just remove the service and it is no longer there. One of the things that we launched this year that we're trying is this thing that we call front desk as a service. So what that means is that a hotel that has our technology that is on the front desk, they can actually hand over their front desk to us to run for them. Yeah, it sounds crazy, right? But all great.
Yes.
You look at my eyes. Yeah, but it sounds crazy. But all new innovations always sound crazy at the start, right? But my hypothesis here is that we have a fully trained front desk team that is remote, and what happens is that when we take over the front desk for a hotel, the guests will first try to do whatever they need on the phone or the tablet that is in front of them. If they have trouble, they can do a video call, and a 24/7 front desk team will talk to them and guide them through or to help them with any issues that they have. It's a remote front desk, And I think that right now it is still difficult for hotels to accept that, and I understand. But I believe that in the future, because this sort of technology allows the hotel to scale up and down, like during busy periods, they don't have to hire so many more people. During less busy periods, they don't have to let go of so many people. This will be a better way to run hotels. And I feel like the hotels that are going to be successful, the groups that are likely to be successful in the future will be the groups that are best at, in the past it's the groups that are best at generating revenue, right? I think that the next wave will be the groups that are the best at controlling their operations costs. Being able to use technology to scale up, scale down, be able to be very flexible, light on their feet, and can move very quickly. So this is my belief.
That make me like have a bigger picture, technology for the hotel. And I would love to go a bit deeper about Vouch. What specific challenge in the hotel industry was Vouch created for?
So when we first started working with hotels, we were working with the 4 to 5 star hotel chains, and for them, they were trying to be leaner with their manpower, right? Because they I think at some point they also tried to become more profitable. So they were looking at, can I use technology to make my manpower less heavy? I don't have to pay so much for manpower. I can do the same amount with less. So a lot of the technology that we did was to help them organize their back-end office, their operations, making sure that they run smoothly, helping them with their check-in, check-out, helping them if a guest needs something, the guest can actually scan a QR code and they'll be able to use their phone to order food, request towels without a human being having to pick up the call. So we did that and we did it really well. That's why we were able to capture a significant share of the market, right? And then I feel like now my focus for the company is really about, I feel like the big hotels, they're good. They know how to operate, they will survive. But we are trying to aim at the smaller hotels to be able to give them the tools that they can do, that they can use. Everything that we learned in the big hotels, we are downsizing it for the small hotels or the independent hotels to also be able to use at an affordable price so that they can also operate efficiently and without crisis affecting them too much. So that's what we're trying to do with the technology that we are building.
What do you think, like, traditional system have any struggle, or like your point of view compared to the new technology and the traditional technology? You think is how it can combine, or we should like throw it away and turn it to be the new things? That's all. Or
I think it is impossible for not just hotels but any company to throw away their current systems, right? If I understand you correctly, you're asking how will they be able to go from their current generation of systems to new systems, right? Is that your... Yeah, I think it is impossible. So a lot of what we focus on is to integrate. We integrate with their current systems, but then when we integrate, we draw data from their systems, and what I'm finding is that for most hotels, they end up using our platform more than the current system. So we don't force them to change. We say that we integrate with you because they are more comfortable that way. And I believe that for a tech company, when you want to work with a bit more old school industry, we have to recognize that they're not going to change overnight. So we integrate, and using that integration, we naturally let them discover the new technology, or we train them to, this is something new, you can still use your old system that is integrated, or you can use this new one and see for yourself which is better. So we let them move at their own pace. I don't think it is right to force them. And even if we have the owner's approval, it is often very difficult for us to just tell them, today you have this system, tomorrow you have this one, change tomorrow. No one does that. So I always believe that the best way is to integrate first, and then let them discover on their own which one works best, and then they will slowly move towards the newer systems.
You mean that, like, the first step is to be like combination?
Yes, compatible. Not to compete, but to be compatible.
Yes, because like I start my career with like how to present the hotel to my customers, like buy a brochure and show them a picture of the hotel. But nowadays, like, you know, iPad or just scan a QR code and then you get all the image of the hotel. Something like that is now the management or the hotel owner feeling that we would like to change from the paper record accounting, just have to put everything on the book, you know, but everything is now on the system. Sometimes they feel insecure with the system, but like you said, it's time to change, because nowadays the world is up there, but we are here, you know.
I do think it will take a while though. It is not like you mentioned, right? In the past, you would show them brochures, and then now you show them on an iPad. That probably took 15-20 years to change, right? Around that. It's not going to be an overnight thing. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to help them manage that transition more comfortably. Because I don't think that we can go in and say, change now. No one is going to listen to us.
Okay, and how's like your company helping like the hotel become more resilient and adaptable during like the period of this like crisis, like geopolitical uncertainty?
So I would like to talk about the front desk as a service product. Right? My belief is that for many independent properties, in the past, hotels used to have their own front desk, their own housekeeping team, their own engineering team. And then over time, they started to outsource it, right? So the engineering team became outsourced, the housekeeping became outsourced. I believe that the next thing to be outsourced, and the reason why they do it is because it becomes more cost efficient. but
sure.
at the same level of quality, right? Because
Yes.
the outsourced companies are actually quite good. Yeah, I believe that the same thing will happen for front desk, and we are trying to help them transit towards that, where many of these independent or small groups, we start off by helping them to deploy, say, Ava is our self-check-in product. Self-check-in is one part of Ava. It also consists of a chatbot using AI to engage with guests, things like that. So we deploy that first, and then we help them to realize that actually this technology works well. We can maybe hand our front desk over to Vouch to outsource it to them. At a later date, once they get used to it. That is what we're trying to do. And if they do that, then it also means because of our pricing structure, if there is a crisis, they are still paying the same small amount. If there is no crisis, they are still paying the same small amount. And at any time, if they want to stop, they can stop. There is no contract, no anything. It is a very flexible way to run this thing. And then with all our add-ons for the Ava product, if they want to add on the chatbot, then there is they can add on at a other cost. They can pick and choose. So on busy times, they want to have the chatbot, great. Non-busy times, they don't need the chatbot, just remove it, no problem. And then that way, and it ties back to what I was talking about being lightweight with your operations, right? Because they can anytime plug in and out. It means that when things get difficult for them in Iran war situation, they can just plug out everything. When things are good and they want more stuff, they can just add more stuff easily. There is no I need to have a difficult conversation with my team to tell them that I need to lay off people. No more of that. They don't need to think about that anymore. Just think about letting us run parts of the hotel for them, and they just focus on other parts of the property, like sitting back, enjoying the revenue that we will make for them.
Wow. You wear our shoes then. because the thing is, like, when we like this situation, people just talking about like how we can cutting costs, and people just think, oh, okay, some fixed costs, like, sorry to say, but people or some staff maybe can replace with technology or whatsoever. But anyway, that good to hear that your companies understand the business. Like, wow, very good. And okay, the next question is, if we look ahead for like 3 to 5 years, the hotel industry will look very different from now, of course. And in your point of view, what do you think will separate the successful of the hotel brands from those that struggle to compete with?
I think again it ties back to what the theme of our conversation, right? I feel like the really successful ones, everyone needs to do revenue well. That one,
right.
You can't run away from it.
Sure.
But the really successful ones will not just be able to do revenue well, but they'll be able to control their costs well, scale up, scale down easily, be able to move very quickly with the market situation.
Right.
Versus now, or in the past, where whenever a crisis hits, the hotels will still suffer for a while and try to figure out, can we overcome this? What do we need to overcome this? And then in the end, it always ends up with layoffs.
Sure.
But when you're dealing with technology, you don't have to do that, right? So I want to be clear. I am not saying that there will be less jobs in hospitality. I'm saying that the jobs will evolve. Remember what I was saying about predictable versus unpredictable? The predictable one, AI will take care. Those jobs will evolve. Those jobs will change. But I think the hotels can actually spend more effort on helping with the guest experience, the unpredictable stuff. And I think that jobs-wise, you'll just be an evolution of jobs. There won't be I don't think there'll be a significant change in number of jobs, just the type of jobs that are available. So again, back to your question, which are the types of hotels that I think will succeed? The ones that can very quickly modify their operating costs using technology. I think those will be the best place to succeed, not just in the next 3 to 5 years, but the next decade or 50 years.
I see. So do you believe that it's like gonna be faster and better, or just like you said, it's like just start to integrate with the old system? Do you think that, like, which option that they should take, like faster or?
I think every hotel has their own pace, right? And it depends on the people that are working there. So in my experience, having done deployments at many of these properties, I find that some hotels where the staff are a little bit more averse to technology, then it is better to start with the hybrid, to do the integration first and take it step by step. But for the younger hotels, the ones where most of the staff are more open to technology, they can go as fast as they want.
I see. I think we going to the last question. And what advice you give to the hotel owners, hotelier, and any hospitality leader in Asia or who are trying to navigate uncertainty while still preparing for the future of their business?
I think now the AI is a very big buzzword, but it shouldn't only be about AI, right? So these leaders, they need to think about what is it that they want to use AI to solve, or it may not even be AI. It could be just plain vanilla old school technology, right? But everything needs to head towards a way for them to scale up and down their costs easily. I'm sorry I'm saying this so much because I really believe in it. I feel like for the longest time we've been focusing on revenue, growing revenue.
Right.
But then there's diminishing returns. You can't get much more out of it. Now the way to differentiate themselves is to be able to scale costs up and down. And when they do that, it means that they also free up budget to do other more interesting things for their guests. And then when they are able to do that, it means that their guests will come back, they'll have a better stay, they'll come back and they will be able to grow their business. So I think that any hotel owner that wants to run a hotel today, keep an open mind. Don't be too caught up about the old school way of running hotels because there are better ways now. Even though the rest of the industry is taking time to change, if they are starting fresh, they have like just now you asked, do they start fast or do they go slow, right? If they can start fast, then they have a huge advantage. And why not, right? And just the faster they move, the better. They will break things will break, but then once they can find a stable platform, things will accelerate from there. Because when you first start using technology, it always breaks. You never get 100% immediately start working out the door kind of technology.
Yes, just on top of it, like because some people say that AI is not the time to jump into the AI yet because they gonna shift to another generation. I'm not sure, but you take guy. So, but we learn a lot of this conversation that I think we start from a little by little, like integrate from what we have now with the new technology in the market that we can afford.
One of the things that I realized very strongly with AI is that we are no longer limited by what we can do, but we are limited by our imagination. So what I mean by that is that today, if I am a tech savvy owner running a hotel, I can actually build an app using AI very quickly for use in the hotel. Maybe not guest facing because that's very risky, but for my staff to use. So just now you were asking about advice for hotel owners. I think the best thing to do is to go and try to use these AI tools and build stuff with it. And then once they do that, I believe that they will realize that there is really, as long as they can imagine it, they can probably build it and then use it to help with their operations. Because I feel like too many people they hear about AI, they hear AI is good and they end up just using ChatGPT to ask some questions, which is a very basic level. But if somebody goes deeper into it and they start using AI to actually build stuff, then you will start to realize that anything that I can imagine, today I can probably build it. And that means that if I notice that there's any problem with my operations and I suddenly have an idea how I can solve it with technology, I could probably go and solve it myself. I don't even have to rely on Vouch or anybody else, right? If I know how to use this, I can do it myself. Of course, when it comes to scale, then that's where it's a different ball game. But for a single property, I will encourage owners to go and try using AI to build stuff themselves. They can probably solve a lot of problems very cheaply without having to find people like me how to solve them for them.
Okay. And yes, and when we're talking about like Vouch, so for anyone who wants to learn more about Vouch, so where can they find about this information? Can you share?
I mean, our website is there for everybody to see, www.vouchtechnologies.com.
Yes.
You can reach out to us from there. In Thailand, they can easily reach out through my colleague Angel or NG, no problem. They can reach out, and we always very fast to respond. Yeah, I
and they can speak Thai.
they can speak Thai. Yeah.
And yes, Joseph, thank you very much. It's very incredible insight that you shared today. I think all the hoteliers have got a lot of information and navigation for them for working in the next few years, I believe, and especially for this situation that we think that we need your expertise. And also, I think we gonna have more and more technology in the next few years.
Yeah.
For anyone who would like to have more information about Vouch and or Joseph, so you can visit their website or any channel that you comfortable with. And today we thank Joseph very much for your time, and thank you for watching. And especially we have a very nice place here at the Maison Hotel Bangkok in Sukhumvit. So anyone would like to, visit with good room, good food here, please. Thank you very much.
I can
Joseph.
vouch for that. It's a very nice hotel.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank
Thank you.
I remember.